The G-Man once said, "Prepare for unforeseen consequences, Matt." But I think the only thing that's unforeseen here is fun. Am I right?
How would that be unforeseen, though? You know, I mean, you've played these games before. You know they're fun. That's not really unforeseen.
Look, why don't you try to make a Half-Life pun into a video introduction, okay? Alright. Well, we're here, and this is Black Mesa. This is a fan-made... This is really quite a fascinating project. This is a fan-made recreation of the original Half-Life from 1998. It's now out on Steam in early access. So it's not a fully finished product. The last few chapters of the game where you go to an alien world are not intact yet. It's $19.99 on Steam.
That's a good noise. Head towards that noise.
Yeah, I'm going to walk towards the creepy noise. Oh, well, no, the noise is heading towards me. So as you can probably tell... Oh, I forgot to mention, it's $19.99 on Steam right now for early access. But that price will not change, they've said. It'll be $19.99 when it's fully formed and fully released. I can't help this fellow out, so I'm going to shoot him.
It's a good call.
Put him out of his misery, you know?
Just and fair. I like the two hands to reload there.
It's proper form, you know?
Nice
you know?
leg strength keeping you on the ladder.
Yeah. So as you can probably tell, this is a graphical, update for the original Half-Life. Using the modern source engine as it appears like in, Half-Life 2 Episode 2 or Left 4 Dead or any of those similar games from Valve. And I think it's really fantastic. Like I said, it's all just a small developer of part-time people doing it for fun. The load times are pretty bad right now, but like I said, it's early access. So they said they're gonna, once they add the final Alien chapters, they're gonna go over the chapters that are already in it and polish them up and make them good.
So who is making money off this though?
The developers of the mod are well, I don't want to call it a mod. That's the thing. It used to be a mod. It used to be a mod for Half-Life 2, and you could download it. But now they have this version as well, because this is an updated version of the mod. So it's an update of an update.
So they're getting all the money. Valve isn't getting anything for this? Or
well, I mean, Valve...
They get whatever they get for listing it, basically?
I believe that's the case. I don't know if they have a special deal, like any kind of merchandising deal. Not merchandising, but licensing deal or anything like that. That guy got cut up by lasers. I want those health kits. Maybe that was a bad call. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the specifics of the deal, but I mean, they're listed as a developer now. Like before, they just sort of were considered a group of fans, but now they're called the Crowbar Collective in tribute to the game's infamous crowbar weapon, which everybody that's played Half-Life or Half-Life 2 knows and loves. How good the crowbar. Incredible forearm strength you'd have to do this,
Absolutely. That's what you get from...
From what, Matt?
I don't know, being a scientist locked away in the lab, no human contact.
You gotta develop a lot of forearm strength?
Gotta develop forearm strength.
All right.
To stay sane.
I think I know what you're putting down, but let's not get deeper into it.
All right.
Yeah, so I really, really like this. I mean, I loved the first Half-Life when it came out. I love Half-Life 2. I play Half-Life 2 Episode 2 every year on the anniversary of its release. I don't remember what to do with this part. Probably gonna get killed by these lasers. Oh, cool. They're just mines. Oh, boy. Problem after problem here. There we go. That takes care of that. As I was saying, I think this is it's just fantastic.
Hit markers all around.
Like it's not just an update or anything like that. I think it's almost, I would call it a translation, like into a more modern dialect of first-person shooters, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, from Cockney English to I don't know, was it Royal English?
I don't know what you're talking about, but
that
sure.
barely understandable commoner's nonsense that gets spit out.
Oh, okay. Cockney English is what you're saying? Okay. I was thinking more like from Latin, like they translate the Bible from Greek into Latin into English.
Well, you could still...
But that's... Okay, I don't want to talk about languages. That's not the point. The point is that they've updated it in a way so... I mean, it's not like they've changed it totally for modern audiences. Like, it's not like they put in regenerating Call of Duty style health or anything like that. But there are some things that, like, mostly they just update the graphics a little bit. Obviously, the graphics are updated, but then they add some more personal touches that are still in the same spirit of the game, but just make it a little better. Like, the office complex is, the office rooms have a little more personality to them and look a little bit like, people actually lived in there, or worked in there, rather, versus how they looked in, 1998 or whatever.
None of the layouts of the buildings have changed at all, though, right?
No, that's all the same. They have, they've re-recorded voice work with a new, so they mostly say the same things. There's additional dialogue. I mean, it's all here. Like, all the important stuff is still here. It's not altered in like a fundamental way. And I think it's a really fantastic update. So we're pretty in the early stages of the game right now. So if you're not familiar with Half-Life, what happens is you're an MIT graduate student. No, well, you have a PhD from MIT, and you work in a government research facility called Black Mesa. I thought that thing wouldn't be able to turn around that far. You'll excuse me for a moment. All right, that took care of that. And you work in this fancy research facility, and you accidentally, as you do as a scientist, you're doing this. I'm sure CERN has done this a couple times with the Large Hadron Collider. They open up a portal to an alien dimension, and they flood out and kill almost everyone. And eventually, the government is going to send some Black Ops soldiers. And do you think they're probably here to rescue us, Matt?
Probably not.
No, they are not.
I doubt that.
They send Black Ops soldiers, and they're here to contain the alien menace and kill all witnesses also. So we're pretty early in the game. We haven't gotten to the... I'm just going to run. We haven't gotten to any of the Black Ops soldiers at this point.
Oh, those guys are going to die.
Aren't we all, eventually?
Yeah, but they're going to die first.
Yes. Yeah.
And more violently.
And then eventually you get teleported to the alien world, and you have to deal with all that sort of stuff. No, like I said, the alien world isn't in here yet, but we should be. I believe in the original game we are close to encountering the soldiers for the first time. We just saw a dead body of one a moment ago. Excuse me. We just saw one a moment ago. So things should start ramping up.
So what's the time frame for the final release? Do they have one yet? Do they have a ship date, or
no?
Is it more...
They're pretty tight-lipped about the schedule because, like, even though they're getting paid now, they're still mostly just it's a part-time project for a lot of the developers on the team. So I've heard that they have an internal schedule that they're trying to meet, but they don't want to share that with the public, so that doesn't cause any, hype or anything like that. But I assume it'll be soon because it just came out in early access. There's our first soldier. What did I say? What do we say? We give him a taste of. Whoa, fella!
He threw a frag at you.
He threw a frag at me, and I threw a 357 Magnum at him.
Yeah, it's awfully aggressive.
This is my favorite gun. In Half-Life 2, when you pick up this gun for the first time, they just toss this wicked, sick baseline at you, and you just feel like one bad dude. I love it.
Fun gun in real life too.
Yeah, this is probably a fun gun. Fun gun.
Yeah, it's fun to shoot those from the hip at the same time. Get dual of those.
We could probably do a little hip shooting. I'm gonna save ammo, but yeah. So it was originally just like a mod for Half-Life 2, but this is an even more updated version of that, and they said that was because they couldn't continue to. The alien world is all like, weirdly organic and that sort of thing. And they've said that the engine that they were developing the mod on originally wasn't really built for that.
They couldn't hit the frames per second they wanted after a while?
No, I don't think it was a frames thing. It was that, like, they couldn't make because, like, this engine was made for, concrete hallways and stuff, and just it didn't look right trying to make weird squishing alien hallways and that sort of thing.
Do you remember Gears of War 2 when that first came out? How weird that looked? They did something bizarre with the organic matter in that. I didn't feel like that looked right at all.
Yeah, so maybe that was the problem. So it's the early access version it's like an updated graphics of the mod version, and they said they're pretty much gonna, for all intents and purposes, gonna stop updating the mod. version. They're still going to have bug fixes and that sort of thing, but it won't be getting any big updates anymore. That stuff's going to be going towards this version, the paid version, which I think it's really worth it because, I mean, $20 just not a bad price at all. If you've never played Half-Life, I think that's what's so cool about this is that, like I said, it's almost like a modern translation where it's just, you know, a game from 1998, no matter how good it is, if you've never played it before, like if you don't have the nostalgia attached to it, it can be rough going back to the way they look.
Just like how that was rough for that guy.
Yeah, I took off his beret with my bullets.
Don't wear berets.
I don't know, berets are cool. Yeah, well, that's a debate for another day. But if you never played it before, you know, I think this is great to jump into, because it's like Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 as well, but mostly Half-Life 1 it's really like a foundational game for the first-person shooter genre. Like it just established so many things that I don't want to say take for granted, but are just like standard nowadays. That to go back to it, if you played it before, if you loved it when it first came out, or to go back to it for the first time, I think this is a really great way to do it.
Attention. All military personnel. Extreme atomic biological chemical alert.
Extreme atomic biochemical alert. That was probably the sickest public announcement I've ever heard.
Those are the words you want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good sign.
Yeah. But as I was saying, before we got interrupted by the Black Ops public announcement, it's really cool to revisit sort of the game that, I don't want to say, did everything that we expected today, but yeah, I mean, it's fun to go back to if you've never played it before, and I think it looks good enough, and it certainly, I mean, the original played well enough, like going back to it, but I think it looks good enough to still be a ton of fun if this is your first time with Half-Life. So
how does this make you feel about something like, we just played Star Wars TIE Fighter?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Does this make you kind of yearn for a Star Wars TIE Fighter update that you could play and maybe get a little bit more of that modern feel, you know? Or?
Yeah, I think I've been annoyed lately at, like, I think this is kind of a hot topic these days with all the remasters, you know, like it's expected that Gears of War remake
Halo,
is going to be like Microsoft's big announcement this E3. There was the Halo Master Chief Collection, which was basically a total failure. And now there's just, or like, what's the new one Sony just announced? There's a God of War 3 remake, which...
That's bizarre.
That's a little bit stupid, but I think that, like, I really like the idea of remaking some of these classic games that are just sort of hard to go back to. Because I think a lot of it is, you know, your fondness of memory sort of distorts how these games actually were. Like you mentioned TIE Fighter. When I was thinking of TIE Fighter, just remembering it, you know, that was one thing. But then when it came out on Steam again, you know, about 3 weeks ago at this point, and I played it, I was like, oh, this isn't nearly as good as I remember. You know, I had those nostalgia glasses on, you might say. So I think it's really, and especially since this is, you know, a fan-made project, I think this sort of thing is just really cool and a lot better than the sort of more, I guess, coldly. I went in a circle here. I guess coldly. I don't want to see almost. Yeah, I guess I think they're kind of cynical. Just God of War 3.
The corporate money grabs versus this is more. It's got some heart in it. This is what the fans, they wanted it, they made it.
Yeah, like I said, this is fan made. I don't know where I'm going right now, so I just charged down a alleyway full of guns.
Hey, there's some civilians.
Yeah. Oh, not anymore. This is probably not the way you're supposed to play the game. But I'm recording a video, so I'm a little distracted right now. I'm not doing my best Gordon Freemaning.
Nice sandbags.
Yeah, what a dork. Oh, jeez. Forgive me a moment here. I'm at low health, and I want to see if I can focus on making it out of here alive. Well, that guy made it easy by standing next to the explosive barrels for me.
Oh,
there's his leg.
That is a great graphical update.
That looks like his heart. A lung, maybe a kidney. There's his arm. You didn't get this. You didn't get full bone detail in the original game.
I'm curious with some of the updates for like Xbox One, Gears of War. Wondering what they're gonna do with that. I'm worried.
Yeah, I don't know.
That game has too much sentimental value to me. to see it get just prostituted into a next gen title for cash.
Well, I sort of disagree about that. I mean, certainly the exploitativeness is there, but well, I guess I don't fully understand your point. Like, you think it's too good that you don't want it to be remastered? You don't want it to like lose anything in the process?
I've played it recently, like all the way through recently, and I thought it stood up to the test of time, which is just like 7 or 8 years at this point. But I thought it was absolutely good enough that the remake is going to have to do something special, other than just slap new pretty graphics on it and ruin the multiplayer that I loved when I was in high school. Right?
But you're not really worried that it's gonna like do some, like if they were to, I don't know, if they like with the Gears of War example, if they remade it but then they had the online be like the Gears of War Judgment Online or something, you wouldn't like that at all. Right?
I'm worried that that's the kind of thing they're going to slap on.
Right.
We know how much of a failure Judgment was. That was such a bad game.
Right. Well,
it was free a while ago on Steam, and I'm a huge Gears of War fan. I didn't even download it.
well, I don't think that's the case with this at all.
Right.
Like, this is obviously there's a huge difference between updating a game that's almost 20 years old versus a game that's 6 years old. Hold on, I'll try to headshot this guy and I'm failing. I got him, but that wasn't that.
Does he work for the UN? Holy crap!
No, his helmet would have been blue. Come on, fella. Ah, I got him. All right. I was never a Counter-Strike player. I'm not so good at this. Whoa, he grenade launched me. You suck. You're right, berets are stupid.
Ready to die.
I'm ready. Taking him with me.
2 health.
I got him. Alright, but yeah, I don't think, like, there's no loss of anything in this one. Like, it's not like they tamper with it to the point that it's not the same and it's not the original and it doesn't lose any of the same heart or anything.
Do they change any of the weapon balancing? Does it feel pretty similar?
Yeah, like it's all still here, I think most importantly, not just the technical stuff like that, but it's still got the same mood and it's still got the same atmosphere. And it's really, really fantastic. It's just as much as the original game was, which I think is really the impressive thing. Like it's one thing to update graphics and that sort of thing, but to completely like preserve the mood and atmosphere or something like this, I think is a really impressive feat as well. And I think they totally have accomplished that here. They've also added some stuff too. Not like anything bad, but specifically they're adding the deathmatch mode that was a fan mod for Half-Life. They're adding that. That's like fully supported in this game right now. Cool. Which is something that's really cool.
So this still has this multiplayer all there.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder with mods sometimes if they don't get to keep the multiplayer.
Well, I mean, the multiplayer wasn't a Valve thing. The multiplayer was a mod itself. So,
see, something like that is crazy to me. I just can't even. I don't know. I've made Oblivion mods. I've made some stuff for some basic stuff for Skyrim, but I've never made anything that's basically like an expansion to the game.
That's
a
the
whole
thing,
different.
This is a fan-created mod. This is really an accomplishment, I think.
Yeah. So Engadget had I don't know if it was their video, but it was a link to a video about Hotline Miami. Remember that game?
Yeah.
And those developers, they were talking to them. They're real emotional guys. They were talking about how much, not that they hated the money that they made from the game, but they were stressing that it definitely didn't make their lives any better, and they were just making a game that they wanted to make, something they loved. I could kind of see that with the guys making this. Like, this is definitely not about the money for them. This is something they loved. They love making video games, and they just, they pour their free time into this.
I think that's absolutely something that shows. Like, you could tell this is made with, with real love and attention to detail. Because, like I said, it's not just a recreation, but like they go through it and like I said with the offices or some of the, like they add some voice acting things where they like sly little mentions of Half-Life 2 stuff. Like part of Half-Life 2's story, if you remember, was a retcon of this. Like Isaac Kleiner and Eli Vance and Barney the security guard were all just there was the white bald scientist and the black scientist and the security guard, and they were just default, like every NPC you encountered had like one of 4 faces, and then they made them characters. but now there's like some of the random dialogue that people say will make a reference to Barney or something like that. So it's got real, loving attention to detail that you can obviously tell the people who made it were fans. So like I said, I'm a little stuck right here right now, but I mean, this is pretty much what it is. Like I said, right now the Alien, the Zen levels aren't in it yet, but they'll be working on that. So that's Black Mesa.
Yeah.
I'm Ryan from SideQuestion.com, and
I'm Matt. Thanks for joining us.
thank you.
357. Get some.